With this few people, you know what this means?
What's that?
No, I was saying if you've got to go and that just leaves Nathan, Austin, myself, I'd be like, hey, which of you guys wants to do plot? Or
we have more intimate discussion now that we've had. God, excellent.
exactly. With this few people, a social becomes very unachievable. It's pretty much okay. Well, either we do plot or personal plot.
Evan's coming back in a few minutes. Anyway, that's just completely messed up the intro. Hello, this is W Darkness. So Random Majors, I'm trying to have a social, and then half the person walked out because it's late. Lightweights. Anyway, we're in Agabar by Night, which is a nightclub owned by the
Taftani.
Thank you.
Good.
The evil Shinny summoners. Right.
And the main hostess is, in fact, a genie.
Yeah, I don't want to know that.
Oh, you'll find out. Dun, 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 dun. Sorry.
And we're in a bit of time with all because our mages may also be somewhere else due for other plot reasons, but we're also here. It's a mage thing.
Who would like to intro first?
Oh, God, I'm already rambling. Rupert Gallo, wearing a casual business suit, of the Magus in good standing of the Order of Hermes, of the House Flambeau.
Okay. Stefanos, and I forgot to put my lower third up. Stefanos will arrive and pretty much just nod to Rupert and take a seat.
Well, it's good to finally sit down after recent busy times. That was quite a show yesterday, wasn't it? With the two combatants.
It was interesting, yes.
So lots
of dodging and fast punching.
Yes, I know we've been around. I don't think we've had a chance to properly sit and talk, have we?
No.
Introduce each other. Rupert Gallo.
Stefanos Argyris. By the way, Austin, you want in or?
Sorry?
Well, because Austin's here. I didn't know if he'd popped in yet.
He's on mute, so I'll figure it out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, just let us know.
So you've been in Dublin long?
Yeah, 6 months or so.
Oh, wait, where are you from?
Greece.
Mm. So how are things in Greece? I mean, I see the news. Is it looks pretty grim on there?
I try not to read the news anymore. It's getting a little bit distressing. Things are much more stable here. At least they were.
Yeah, Ireland has its own problems, its own bailouts. But
well, I meant more. Things seemed more stable until about a week ago. Then he kind of gestures around. So you are of the Order, yes?
Yes, that's correct.
I was just reading a book, actually. He holds up a book from Siren's library, which it's like many of the introductory primer books for mages, written by the Hermetics, of course. But it's, probably has some default title like The 9 Traditions and Their Origins, yada, yada, yada. Nice, big, thick history tome.
I see. So you, well, do you have any questions? Perhaps I could help.
Well, I did already have a discussion with what's her name? That is not good that I forget her name so quickly. Magister D'Onofrio. That was it.
Oh yes, likes to wear a white uniform.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we are acquainted.
Yeah, she was very helpful, answering many questions. Still have not. It's hard to make a decision on such things. It has long-term consequences.
I mean, many things in life do. Oh, when you say decision, you mean you're deciding which tradition to join?
1 second. Just dying a little. It's okay. In character. More or less, yes. There are a few things I was looking at. I'm sure if my view was the same as Miss Yuki's, she would be willing to let me join their tradition, perhaps. But it is not. There's some common ground, but not enough, I fear.
I see. The guy was pausing and thoughtful for a moment. What are you? What points of common ground are you looking to find in particular?
Well, I mean, are you speaking as in hypothetical ideals or
Either?
Let's see. Any group which acknowledges the gods, that's always a good start. But I've already been assured the choristers do not take kindly to pagans, so that was not an option.
I mean, the Order of Hermes has members of many faiths and none. It is explicitly not a religious order. We have sometimes been compared to an obscure monastic order in our customs,
or a knowledge cult, as I believe I phrased at one point. It's you do have the name of Hermes Trismegistus.
Indeed, there are certainly traditions, small t, in the order who trace back to the classical mystery cults, particularly the cult of Mercury, hence the name.
I'm back.
Welcome back. We're just sitting in Agrabah, chit-chatting about the order,
and indeed other classical traditions from across Europe. But no, there are certainly been plenty of Christians and Muslims and pagans in the order. There have been a number of very strong pagan houses.
He looks kind of nervous at that because manipulation won.
Okay.
Something about what you just said. There's no roll required because manipulation won and no subterfuge. He's just like, go ahead.
We are in Agrabanites?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, if that answers your question, I think most hermetics would recognize the one above, but we would also recognize the existence of pagan powers.
Yes, that was the impression I was given. It would not be a hindrance to be pagan. But I was also treated to a rather stirring rendition of your creed, which was explained to me.
The oath.
Yes. It seemed. I noticed and could not help but comment that there are points which are vague and other points which are oddly specific.
The oath is, of course, clarified by now centuries of case law and precedents that have been set in different tribunals, which does it clarifies these points. The original basis was that the wizards who came together to form the order, none of them wanted to be restricted in their actions. They accepted an oath which placed very minimal restrictions so that they're upon, like thou shalt kill each other, thou shalt scry upon each other. These are very simple things, but we would all hope were basic rights. The oath is quite minimalistic in that it places relatively few restrictions. I mean, do you have a particular part of it that you would like clarified?
No. I understood most of it, and D'Onofrio was very clear that it was a What mattered was the interpretation, and rather how your superiors interpreted it. Essentially, if you had a different interpretation than your superiors, it was theirs that mattered, which I understand that.
That is, well, I'm not sure I would hold with that view. One could cite a past case law to support one's case. Tribunals were originally simply a matter of one makers, one vote. Obviously, an older, respected master may carry some influence, and people may listen to their word, and they might persuade people to support them. But we still have a one makers, one vote system. The order has always been progressive. We had a democratic system in the 8th century, but then we were an order looking back to the glory days of the Roman Republic and ancient Greece, which had democracy.
Were you trying to jump in, Austin?
Yes.
Okay.
Winray walks through the purple curtain, finds himself a comfy hookah, a bunch of pillows, and a plate of hummus. Probably relatively close.
Yay. Stephanos will wave. I think he's only seen you like once.
It's like, we're like 2 or 3 times now.
Solon has bad memory. It's okay.
And Winray will smile and wave over to Stephanos, and he will bow his head ever so slightly over towards Mr. Gallo.
With heads nod. Gestures that you're welcome to join us.
And he will carry his hookah and then his hummus over to your pillow pile.
Yay.
And the hookah smells of apple and cardamom.
And Katabe? What?
What was that?
Did you say it smells of apple and Katabe?
Cardamom. Cardamom.
Okay.
As related to cilantro.
Right, okay.
So we were just discussing things, but the others that I was sorry, looks over towards Winry. We were just discussing different traditions. What was it?
There are lots of them.
Yes.
And not each one is for everybody.
Yes. He's got a big book on his lap, by the way, one of those nice, big, thick history tomes written by a Hermetic, of course.
Of course.
They all are. It's, the 9 traditions and their origins. Basic shit. But lots of, fluffed up, pretty history.
I mean, which, if I can ask,
are you looking to join?
Potentially. Been looking around. There's couple options, shall we say. Have not made up my mind. It's good to know there are options, though. I was worried there might not be.
There are plenty of them.
But what training have you received so far? Where is the cultural roots of your own tradition, lowercase t?
Where's your heart take you? That's the important question. What do you do? How do you do it? What's right? What'd you do before your brain exploded?
Oh, that's easy. I'm a smith. And a robot.
I wouldn't call that fucking easy, man.
No. I mean, as in it's easier to define what I was as opposed to what I am now.
And is that part of your practice?
Yes.
Is that how you understand the world? Is through force and labor, through shaping, through
somewhat
breaking and bending. Does all that make sense to you?
Somewhat. It is not the only thing, though. It is complicated, but I studied strictly as a hobby. You understand. I do not have a degree in this topic, but I studied parapsychology, psychic manifestations, that sort of thing.
Always, we all have weird knickknacks. I mean, he holds up an original Game Boy, like the gray brick. I understand.
He's 35, so he's like, ah.
We all have our things that make us like, I like this better than the new ones. And then he just kind of looks at it. The screen flashes a few times, and then he puts it back in his pocket. But no.
I mean, have you, in that book, have you reached the section yet on House Veritius?
No, the book does not actually go into detail about the various hermetic houses. It mentions one or two of them by name, but not that one. However, Mr. D'Onofrier did actually discuss them at some length.
Well,
so apparently great minds think alike, I suppose.
Well,
you,
mention a Smith to a Hermetic is the first thing that comes to mind.
Looking over it, Mr. Gallo, are you actively recruiting then?
Well, I'm not sure I personally am actively recruited, but the Order of Hermes is open to recruiting.
I did actively bring up the topic here tonight before you arrived. It's not simply him trying to recruit me, as it were. I did specifically ask him.
He'll nod, and he will take a long hit from his hookah.
No, I read over the very brief summaries in the introductory chapters talking about all 9. Though I have since discovered there are others, but I don't have the book on that one yet. That's going to be a little interesting to find. The ones that were the most interesting to me, if I had to name them, there are 3. The Sons of Ether, or sorry, it did list that as a former name. Society of Ether.
Yeah.
Society of Ether. I do have some scientific background, and I have ideas about how I might be able to apply some of my theories to. Well, mixing and matching could be done hypothetically. I mean, if I can make a normal robot and I know how to make metal stronger and tougher, I could combine the two.
We deal in hypothesis every day.
You create robots, then?
I haven't done much of that recently, but it is my expertise.
Oh. You compete in BattleBots?
Oh no! I was never very good at making shall we say combat models, except in theory in some video games.
Kind of looks.
Same.
Win rate looks kind of a little sad.
I mean, I know the theory, but I don't know much about fighting, so I would probably just stick many pointy things on it and hope for the best. And give it a really good engine and thick armor.
I mean, that is something members of the Order have done. We absorbed the tradition of golem creation from the Kabbalists.
Oh, I have those.
Golems?
Yes.
Oh, how fascinating.
They rather showed up when, well, you know,
so
part of the package, apparently.
Made of clay?
No.
So, machines of metal?
Not only in the classical definition of the term. They are not high tech. I actually really want to fix that at some point. It bothers me on a slight subconscious level seeing them move in a way that they should not be able to move. They don't have joints.
Nothing like a golem, then.
I mean,
they are. I would call them golems or machina, but
I mean, I work with Golem and Machina, but they are, I am sure, far different than the type you work with.
Very likely, yes. These are very, what is the term? Classical?
I'll nod. We all start somewhere. We all
Yes.
reach our own goals.
Well, I do hope to eventually upgrade them. If I could, eventually, I would like to make them. Well, it will take time, but I do know how to turn them
It may
into
not
something more functional.
necessarily take time. It also may take the help of others.
Possible, but they do seem a little skittish around others. They are rather protective. It might take a little time for me to get folks familiar with them, and vice versa.
He'll shrug. Just offering assistance.
Oh no, I do appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. I might take you up on it at some point, but I still need to explore a little bit. But I'm sorry, I've gotten a little off topic. You were
two traditions. The first was the Society of Ether.
Yes, for the scientific background. Though, yes. The second would be the Order of Hermes, which I have actually managed to speak to someone from that group, as you know.
I must confess,
twice now.
I'm not off the top of my head aware of Aritius Magus in Dublin, but I'm sure we could contact such a person.
Mr.
Your
Nofre
house
assured me
has
that
strange connections to all of your other strange houses, and he just kind of takes some hummus. You guys are organized. I gotta give you that.
yes, I did notice that, among other things. But yes, you may get that impression, Winrate, that he's not entirely bought into the Hermetic propaganda. and so would Rupert, because manipulation 1, subterfuge 0.
Fair.
And third, well, this one's a bit of a stretch, but there are some interesting things about them. The Verbena?
Ooh.
They do have a history of smiths, apparently, though it is not as high tech in most cases.
I've met a handful of the Verbena.
There are apparently not many in the city. Someone did give me their number, but I haven't been able to contact them yet.
I mean, they are pagan, but they are overwhelmingly Celtic pagan.
They worship Gaia.
And he just kind of makes wild, just wide arm gestures at the surrounding environment. And then shrugs. They're localized. They are... The predominant local faith guides them, as I understand.
Yes. They are. I imagine it would be different if we were in, say, America or Eastern Europe.
I imagine they'd have different gods and different shenanigans and various other things that they'd adhere to.
However, how different is it? Hopefully I'll be able to get a hold of this person soon. They didn't leave a name, just their number. But I figure it's worth checking out. I do acknowledge Gaia, though it would require me to learn more for me to. Well, let's just say that I'm not used to having an altar to her. I could be persuaded. That's definitely not the problem. She is, after all, the grandmother of the gods.
And who is that?
Grandmother in some cases.
Who is that?
Gaia.
No. Even scientists now speak of the Gaia principle of Mother Earth, don't they?
Yes, though it is received differently in different circles. But
whatever's right to you.
Exactly. And if I find that to be a good match, then perhaps I will go in that direction. I've yet to speak to anyone from the Society of Ether, though I hear there are one or two of them around.
There are a few. Um, but they're a little sideways.
Yes, even the book here was... it used the term eccentric, but I can read in between the lines sometimes.
I love dealing with the Society of Ether. They're so much fun and they're so exciting. They always have new ideas. Sometimes, however, they just need to be handled beyond the blast wall. I mean, Eliza's an amazing person, and I highly suggest it. Suggest spending some time with her.
Yeah, I will see if I can get a hold of her at some point. Let's see.
Any other traditions?
Well, as I said, the choristers don't go much for pagans. The Thanatoi, there are some of them do worship the Greek pantheon, such as Yuki, but it's not the predominant feature of their organization by any means. It's something some of them respond to.
Are your gods that important to you?
Yes.
And he just kind of shrugs. And then it's like, okay.
He doesn't seem offended. He's just like blunt, honest. Yes. like he doesn't need them to be the focus of the group, but it's like at the very least it needs to be not frowned upon for whatever organization he's looking at. Like the Verbena will be like, as long as you give Gaia her due, that's fine. The Society of Ether will be like, hey, whatever floats your boat, man. But yeah, in character he's just gonna be like,
and the Hermetics are, well, have a direct lineage back to the classical mystery cults.
Yes.
We may not.
So apparently services are not very common anymore, but that's to be expected. And we have an Evan. Yay.
And he'll look over at Mr. Gallo. Oh, I'm sorry. I actually don't think we've met.
Or not been
formally.
Anyway.
We've seen each other, but I don't think we've actually formally introduced each other. And he'll extend his hand. You can call me Winrate.
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 Winrate. Rupert Gallo. A pleasure.
Pleasure. I am current head of the virtual adepts. Or perhaps maybe you prefer the fanciful new term, the Mercurial Elite, but...
Which term would you prefer?
I'm a VA deep down inside.
Is this in Agrabah Nights, kids?
Yes.
The door will open and two men in white overcoats wearing red ties will walk in before this individual will stride into the room.
Haven't I met this person, or was that as Eric? I think Stephanos
That was his Eric.
Okay, that was his Eric? Okay, so I've never met them before.
So, just to give you a heads up, Winrate is eating hummus with fresh pita, and he is smoking an apple and cardamom taboo hookah. And he is hitting it very hard and sending the scent everywhere. So, apple and cardamom. So good.
Stephanos is sipping tea.
The individual pictured will stride into the center of the room. He casts his one good eye, the other obscured by the eye patch, around the room, and he will say, Well. So interesting. I'm curious. He will casually walk to your table as it's the only one that is occupied. I trust that you individuals are having a pleasant evening.
Yes?
Yes, thank you.
So, you are the interesting. You are the source of the amazing amount of, well, the, how do you say in English, the Unterverstoßesreichen, the surging energies that we detected about a week ago.
I am fluent in Google Translate. What did he say?
He said the cascading energy effect was his exact wording.
Okay.
So he leans down, looking at Stephanos with his one good eye. He gets very close.
Oh, just be calm, and he will tap Stephanos on the shoulder. It's not like anybody would dare to breach hospitality here. Looking over at the one-eyed man.
Yeah. Yes, of course.
Hospitality. Well.
And he just smiles.
Stephanos, do you still have Prime Side active?
Yup. And Spirit.
The sword that he's wearing on his head makes you sad or happy, depending on. It's incredibly powerful, but its presence also makes you sad.
Like right now, it's making me sad.
No, it's not actually mentally affecting you to make you sad, but it's like, oh shit levels of oh shit.
So,
so we're
what
talking
does he
like
show up
Archbishop
under
levels
data
of
site?
bullshit.
I beg your pardon?
I'm gonna punt back to Stephanos.
No. I think you were asking about data site.
Mm-hmm. What
Oh,
does
yeah.
he show up under as data site?
He shows up as, well, he has connections to the two people in this room. Would you like to ask him more specific questions?
He has direct connections to the two other people that came with him.
Yes.
All right. Is he warded?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get a perception? What is it? Awareness to scrutinize the types of wards?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Can type.
I personally have faith in your abilities.
Got 2 successes to scrutinize the wards.
He is currently warded. They appear to be very, very battle-intended wards. Like, he's warded against specific types of metals and other accoutrements that might be able to do him harm, etc.
Like very specific, like physical wards.
Oh, he also has spiritual wards on him that you would describe as nearly impenetrable, aka have 20 plus successes on them.
Okay. All right.
How many effects can I detect from Prime Sight?
On him personally?
Yes.
7.
Jesus.
Ooh, boy, oh boy, oh boy.
And do I see anything from Spirit Sight, or is he warded from detection on that front?
He blazes with divine light on the spirit side.
Ow!
I don't know if Stephanos has ever seen True Faith on the spirit side.
Does the Archbishop have it?
Yes, he does, but the Archbishop doesn't. The Archbishop is very tranquil and very kind of passive and embracing. This is in your face and caustic.
This is Deus Vult!
Essentially, yes.
I understand.
The entity in question will straighten his back, and he will extend a hand to the ceases hermetic, and he will say, "There are my manners. High Marshal Albrecht, at your service, of the Templar Order."
Rupert will rise to his feet, accept the hand. And
What was the name of the technocratic order?
It's not tech. He's High
Oh.
Marshal Albrecht of the Templar
Okay.
Order.
Sorry, my roommates were making noise, so I heard High Lord Technocrat.
Magus Gallo of the Order of Hermes. I'm honored to meet you.
The gate is good. Are you enjoying your evening, Mr. Gallo?
So far, yes.
Wunderbar.
It is a fantastic night. Do you like apple? And he will pass over the hookah.
He will raise the gloved hand and he will say, "Nein, danke. I will restrain myself. I do not smoke."
And he'll just kind of like nod into his own shoulder and he'll take a hit from the hookah. I didn't want to be rude. I figured I should share since we're all friends and company is always appreciated. And he will offer to the two side gentlemen.
My apologies. You are... Yes, I read the report. You are Mr. Stefan Agris.
Stephanos Agris, yes.
He will extend his hand.
You'll take it and shake it.
Strength 5 is crushing your hand. As in, he's actually vice gripped you and is actively exerting force.
Strength 2, he's not as strong as a blacksmith should be, so he'll just be like, very strong grip you have there.
No, Solon, he's actively hurting you.
Oh, in that case, let me rephrase that. My hand!
So, does he have anything that would modify the difficulty of right click?
No, he doesn't.
Okay. I'll get back to you with successes in a moment.
No worries. He will look down at Stefan and he will say, "I am led to understand that your little display lit up a section of the city like it was a Christmas tree."
I did not have any choice in that.
I see. He will release the grip. I am a man who is forgiving, as the Lord taught us to be forgiving. You say this was not your fault, yeah?
I am told it was my what word? Awakening.
I see. Yours was a very extreme awakening. Would you not agree?
I have nothing to compare it to, and I did not see it myself. Not the effect that you describe. He's nursing his hand visibly.
I see. The Archbishop de Calvonnet has said that you are to be treated with dignity and respect. You see the look in his eyes that is almost distasteful.
Well, that is good then, yes?
So I've got 6 successes to right click this guy.
Okay. He does not have any online presence whatsoever. When I say it doesn't exist, he doesn't even have a birth certificate. You can even scan his fingerprints if you'd like. If you want to add life into
this
the effect.
dude is... I've got life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this dude is just entirely off the fucking grid.
Intentionally so, by the sound of it.
Mm-hmm.
He went sinless. He burned his sin. Oh, sorry, we're on Shadowrun.
No, he's sinless, right?
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
He's not just sinless. He has never even... How do you explain this? You almost think that this is more than a thorough scrub. It's almost like he was never born.
Never was. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And he will eat his hummus, and he will smoke his hookah.
So what, if I ask, what brings you to the city, Marshal?
I'm here doing God's work in the striking down of this technocratic plague. He will very casually click his fingers, at which point one of the men will walk forward. For Winray was correspondence size up. You will see him reach into the fold of his into the fold of his white jacket, and he will very casually pull out, and you will see the correspondence effect as he reaches into he's clearly reaching to another location that the wards do not block him from doing so around this place, and he will remove a severed head from the inside of his robe.
Blink, 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 blink. Like
Is it a head we recognize?
like straight up audible blinks as the head comes out of the pocket.
You don't recognize the head, however, you do recognize the fact that a lot of the neck, which is not dripping anymore, but it is still very raw, is made of metal, so you can assume it was probably a technocrat.
That's actually going to get a look from the robotics expert who's just like, probably never seen anything that advanced in his life.
You may put that away, Stefan. The man will nod and put it back in the folds of his coat.
Blink, 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 blink.
The holy curia of the celestial chorus, with whom we have reaffiliated ourselves, have declared a holy war on the city to save it from the hands of the pagans, the filth, and the usurpers. Does that answer your question, Mr. Gallo?
Oh, most certainly. I mean, I've not been active in Dublin politics long, but I've already heard various reports of disturbing activity. I'm just a. It is not my place to question. I'm just a little puzzled that you consider the technocracy to be your primary target at this point.
I am here because the Grand Inquisitor has declared the city is to be saved from itself and its vices. I do not consider anyone to be my primary foe. I consider any who stands in the way of our ability to make pure the city to be my enemy.
What was the introduced name again?
Albrecht. High Marshal Albrecht.
Thank you.
I've heard mention of a personal spirit or demon possibly using the name Faust. I'm sure we all know what that name means. Are you familiar with reports of this creature?
Puzzlement look.
Eyes look up. Eyes come back to look at the table. And there's a frozen smile on his face, like the smile of a psychopath, as he will say, I had not been informed, Mr. Gallo. Please do go on.
I'm afraid I have very little to go on with. I've scarce heard second or third hand accounts. Reports of a demon using that name. I can't even confirm the reports are genuine or national, but I was hoping you would know more than me on the topic.
I have not been informed. Who told you these rumors?
It came up in discussion with my Sardalis in relation to other wider matters. There were one or two other rumors of infernal activity in the city.
Mr. Gallo, I asked you a very specific question. Who? Name, please.
I believe it was mentioned in conversation with Rory of House Meronita.
I see. The man will turn on the ball of his foot and walk straight out the door.
Oh, are the
He
two men
will
going
look
with
at
him?
They immediately
the man
follow.
walks out, and then look over at Mr. Gallows, and his eyes are as wide as saucer plates.
Gallo, who is this Rory fellow you mentioned?
Oh, he's a young magus of House Meronita.
Of your order?
Yes.
Nod.
You might want to contact Magister de Nothrier. That man had murder in his eyes.
I have not accused him or anything. I simply mentioned that a name came up in a conversation.
He is...
like gestures wildly to the man walking out the door.
Well, he wouldn't have said any of this until the guy was out. Just to clarify.
Just kind of like, and like as soon as he is out the door, Winrate looks over, gestures kind of like frantically. That person doesn't exist. That person has no existence. From beginning to end, it is a complete void of non-existence.
I'm getting out the Nothrier's
and just kind of like he extends his hand and just kind of like close mouths the hand motion over to Stephanos. You gave a house. You gave a name. You gave an order to a technocrat who doesn't fucking exist.
Sorry, technocrat.
He's not a technocrat.
What do you mean?
Of the Union.
What are you talking about?
He's not a technocrat.
He's very definitely not. He's killing technocrats.
Have you guys never played chess or Go rather and double trade yourself?
The Templars are, as you heard, part of the Celestial Chorus.
You just sent somebody to their death. I'm just going to put that on you.
Yes, but I don't think it... I agree with you, but not as to that man's affiliation. But under the circumstances, I think that's irrelevant. We should probably warn Magister de Nothrier.
You know what? It's a house problem at this point. And he'll finish his scoop of hummus. And he'll look over at Mr. Gallows.
Gallo is looking quiet and thoughtful.
You gave a name. You gave an order. You gave a house. Which, for anyone with even the basic amount of skill sets, now has the ability to track. Now has the ability to hunt and sniff out someone.
And since if no one's stopping him at this point, he's pulling out the phone.
And he stops. If Mr. Gallus begins to speak, he will stop and let him speak.
Gallo is again just looks like he wills a turn. He's thinking things through.
You gave a hunting dog a scent.
More like a rabid dog.
Well,
crushed my hand.
To someone who has information on something he may want to look into. I do not accuse anyone of consorting with a demon.
To that sort, I don't think they make much difference.
Certain personalities "Hi, how are you?" and sign your name on the line are.
Sorry, I'm afraid I don't quite share your cynical opinion of the Templars.
No, I have it. It's not that you don't share my cynical opinions on the Templars. It's you don't share my cynical opinions on anybody.
And Stephanos is going to get up, walk a few steps away, and make a phone call or text, as the case may be, because I don't think he has more than a voicemail. I'll send it to you, Kim.
So you're accusing me of being a hermetic who actually thinks well of other people.
No, I'm just accusing you of somebody with somebody whose jaw muscles are a little too loose.
Well, I'm afraid I don't share your negative, paranoid view of the Templars. They fought the good fight for centuries, and they've done good work. And I'm pleased to see them rejoin the traditions. Frankly.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, that's a roller coaster I'm just going to let you ride on your own.
I'm sorry, have you had some personal issue with them before?
Nah. That's between me and that order. And, you know, I'm just, like I said, that's a roller coaster I'm going to let you ride.
Well,
you may have a different experience. You may get different thrills, different revelations.
Before you send the following text, you will see a flash of brilliant blue light right beside Stephanos, as stepping through a.
God damn it!
And then before you send the second text,
the second text beeps through a second later, and he's like, "I knew I should have clarified that."
And flash one, Winray is just going to cover his eyes, just because. Oh God, that's bright.
You will see this woman standing there. For Mr. Gallo, hi, Mr. Gallo. Have you been in a scene that had D'Onofrio in it before?
Other than the chantry.
The player has, the character hasn't, but isn't she my 2-point mentor?
Oh yes, she would essentially be your mentor. Yes, she is your mentor. So for the record,
is she also my parent who trained me as an apprentice?
Yes.
Right.
She trains many apprentices.
But she's of my house, so explicitly.
Yes. She is. To give you some context, she is a hermetic war hero. She's about a century old, give or take. She's a master of forces and a master of correspondence.
She is best mom.
She is best mom.
Yes.
She has a very no-nonsense attitude, but she like if she actually lists all of her names, she's got about 20 of them.
She also probably looks like she has 0 fucks to give right now.
She has appearance 4, and her spec is sexy.
It's marvelous.
You actually see the fact that a fireball has formed in her hand as the corona dissipates.
Jeez.
I'm going to actively put distance between me and everything else.
Salve matter. That's greetings.
She will very coolly raise a single finger, as in for silence, before she will look at Stephanos. And D'Onofrio can be a very scary person. Her eyes are bright gold, as shown here, and they almost look like they're on fire.
Definitively putting distance between me and everybody else.
And then Solid rolled a new character. Continue.
Explain yourself, Mr. Agnes.
The High Marshal, that was his name, High Marshal Albrecht. He just came here. There was some sort of discussion. Things were mentioned. He was given a name, and he left. He seemed like, to be blunt, it seemed like wherever he was going, there would be bloodshed. And the name was one of yours.
You will see D'Onofrio. She will flick her hand, and the fireball will incinerate a table.
That's one way to loose a chained effect.
Oh no, she is actually physically, her hand crushes inward, and there's almost a physical sound, almost like, there's almost like a sonic wave of as her hand connects with itself, and she says, I see. Interesting. At which point you will notice the fact she is bleeding rather badly from her side.
Oh dear.
As in, she's wearing a white uniform, as she always does, but the blood is physically soaking the side of her white uniform.
Oh, bother.
Matter, do you need assistance?
You'll see her run her tongue
Quick.
along her teeth. Stephanos, you're relatively close to her, aren't you?
I assume so. I got the impression she was kind of looming.
She is going to physically fall over.
He will catch her with strength too.
She doesn't actually weigh that much, so yes, you will catch her.
Thank God I'm not Severo. You'd be like, crap.
Okay, Gallo will also leap over. Really personally concerned.
Oh, this is not good.
It's okay. All right. Just put me sitting somewhere. Shit. Fuck. Right. Get my phone out of my pocket, please.
Rupert will do as she asks.
Fuck.
Stephanos is going to try and find bandages.
Fuck. She'll shake her head, and she'll point to Agrabah Nights has a kind of a counter where when the server is not in the room, it just has general alcohol on it, and she'll just point and she'll say, just get me a bottle of whiskey from that, please, thank you.
He gets one and some towels.
She corks the whiskey with her teeth and she spits the cork out, at which point you'll see her, she'll just tear open the uniform with her hand.
Ooh.
And you'll see she has two, almost as if she was hit with a, what is it you call them? Is it a buzz saw, rotating saw?
Yes, rotating saw, buzz saw, same thing.
Yeah, as if she's been slashed twice with a buzz saw on her lower abdomen. They are really deep.
Oof. Is she like in imminent peril of dying, or?
Would you like to make me an intelligence medicine roll?
I don't think I have that.
I will. Or what am I looking for?
Intelligence medicine, difficulty 6, needing threshold of 2 successes.
Yeah, she's not a robot. I can't do that.
2 successes.
To answer the question, no, she's not an imminent. Well, no. If she was going to die, it would be going into shock.
Okay.
But she doesn't appear to be going into shock. You assume that's because of the hilarious Flambeau mental discipline.
Okay. I'm assuming with that role I could do general first aidy stuff.
She will basically, what she will do is she will pop the cork with her teeth. She will pour whiskey on the wound. At which point she'll say, okay, this is really going to hurt. And you will see her press her hand onto the wound, and her hand will ignite into blue flame. I'm not going to do the Wilhelm scream that she will let loose, because even that steely mental discipline will not be comparable to what will happen.
Have come back.
I'm going to just go get a drink. I will let the others bring you up to speed on the hilarity that's kicking off.
Okay, so D'Onofrio has 2 buzzsaw wounds in her side, like someone cut at her with a rotating saw twice.
No.
She asked for some whiskey, and she corked it and poured it over the wound, which was painful enough. And then she put her hand over the wound and just burst the hand into flames.
She's cauterizing the wound. Let the crazy woman in white be crazy.
Yeah.
Unless I get orders from other members of her house.
Exactly. I miss Liam sometimes.
Okay. really fucking hurt. Okay. Right. Okay. I'm not going to pass out. We're at the point where I'm not going to pass out. If I was going to pass out, I would have done it already.
Stephanos, for his part, looks equal parts concerned, still slightly residually terrified from the encounter with the High Marshal. And though he's not like, he's holding up under that, it's more like, oh God, I called this woman here and it's my fault she's in this condition. He's assuming that.
What do you need us to do? So,
I just need a second to regather my thoughts. Rory is currently located in the chantry. Crowshaw's there with the other adepts. I don't think that even the High Marshal is crazy enough to try and force his way in. What did you say he did?
I didn't say he did anything. I was asking why the Templars were in town. I asked if he knew anything about this creature Faust. He then asked me where I'd heard that name mentioned. I mentioned the person who mentioned the name to me. That was all. I did not imply any association between them.
That stupid fucking child. Oh, of course. Well, I figure that, I might as well have another nail in my coffin. He's put so many in there before now. What's one more, realistically? Oh.
If this is my fault,
No, Stefan, it's not your fault. Fine.
No.
I'm big pardon. Are we in some conflict with the Templars? Why are we so concerned about them?
We're not. It's just that Albert is a dedicated man to what he thinks is right. Unfortunately, what he thinks is right is often clouded by incredible amounts of zeal.
I was going to say he struck me as
zealous is a good word.
I mean, I was rather thinking with all these repeated reports of infernalism in this area, it's a good job they're here.
Yes, well, unfortunately, Rory is a fucking moron and a fucking child who should not talk about things he doesn't fucking understand.
I'm more concerned with, if I had to guess, the Archbishop seems very well aware of things like this, but if he was not telling the High Marshal, perhaps there was a reason. The two did not seem to speak of each other too fondly.
Because the High Marshal will now run to the Lord Inquisitor, in which case he's about to start what I will lovingly refer to as the Salem Witch Trials Point 2.
Well,
oh, that's not good.
Oh,
well, I'd rather he do it on actual infernalist demons then.
Okay, Rory is not an infernalist. Rory is a fucking moron.
No one said he was.
He's a good kid.
Yes, no, but therein is the gal. Therein, she'll call him Rupert. Actually, therein is the problem, Rupert. He is a fucking moron. He has openly admitted several times to having conversations with this entity. And I have it on. If called before tribunal, I will have to testify to this, along with every other hermetic he has spoken to. He is not an infernalist. He is guilty of his own stupidity in having these conversations. He has never actively engaged in infernalism. He is just too dumb and proud to understand the fucking difference. But in a court of chorister opinion, particularly backed by chorister values, in front of a chorister inquisitor, backed by his Templar friends, that is more than enough to have him killed. Not only that, but frankly, it's enough to have those associated with him killed. There has been only one confirmed indiscretion as it pertains Faust, from what I've been told, from what Magister Crowshaw has told me, and that pertains to a euthanatos by the name of Jewel. Don't ask me why, but the ignorant girl thought it would be an excellent idea to allow Faust to name her first child and never stipulate what name the thing could give it. I assume, Mr. Gallo, in your education, you were more than well aware, as I made you more than well aware of the importance of names.
Most certainly.
Fuck. Fuck, fuck, fuck. Fuck. More fuck, with some fuck on top. When Liam was alive, he kept a leash on Rory's stupidity, and I don't have the ability to do so anymore.
Well,
Oh, that's not good.
well,
Look, Rupert, I know that you've been asked to try Rory on a number of charges before the Hermetic Tribunal. He is not a bad kid, but he is a kid. He is a stupid fucking child who thinks he's playing at a child's game.
Yeah. Stephanos looks like he's about to say something, but then kind of remembers, oh yeah, I'm not in the Order. I haven't decided to officially join the Order. I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
I have conversed with Rory. I can certainly see what you say about him in his youth. Again, guys, to let the wheels turn and think this through. I have opinions on just how strong some of the case really is. Will do my best to fulfill the function they've asked me to, but I know it's a shame no one asked me to take the other side in this case.
That's because the Order wants to make an example of him. They actively want to punish him because he spat in the face of some crusty old higher-ups due to their issues with the whole DiD situation. I don't give a fuck. I don't know what happened 1,000 years ago. Many people don't. Nobody actually knows what happens 1,000 years ago unless we want to go back to we are the glorious regions of House Tremere. Fuck those people. But that's neither here nor there. Nobody has a fucking idea what happened 1,000 years ago. And if there are some people now who want to call themselves the DNA, I don't care. They're not infernalists. I've checked them myself. It's just the significance of a name. But because Rory wrote a song that damned the Order and called them murderers and is actively trying to stir up trouble, they want to make an example of him.
That's not the basis of the trial, though, is it? They are bringing specific charges, which is not singing a naughty song. And yes, I've heard he sung his song for me. Yes, it's ridiculous and offensive and wrong, but that's not a crime.
This would be some of the politics you mentioned.
A young boy dragging up very, very, very old politics. A boy who doesn't.
That was mostly to D'Onofrio, but yeah.
But strictly speaking, if he having conversations with a demon could be construed as consorting with them under the code.
That sounds like an in-house problem that should probably be discussed behind, and he gestures over to the right, that velvet curtain where we can't hear anything.
I don't personally give a damn, Mr. Has she met Winray? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think they've met a couple times, haven't they?
They've met a number of times.
Mr. Winray, I've just had to close very deep cuts in my side. If I want to discuss private hermetic business, I'll damn well do it here.
You can do whatever the fuck you want. I was just offering a way to not get anybody else in trouble.
I mean, realistically, that's fine. However, ultimately, we're not actually divulging great house secrets here. It's all matters of real public record.
Yes. Yeah. Without wanting to get to another historical debate, I had that here last time I was here with Roy. The boy doesn't understand that the 11th century was a messy time and lots of people died in wars, including people that shouldn't have died, like children. Sadly, that's war for you, especially the Middle Ages. But back to the matter at hand. I mean, whilst I haven't dealt with the marshal before personally, I mean, Matter, you know I have my own deeply held faith. You know that, hence I am well disposed towards the Templars as a principle.
As a principle, yes, and I can understand your opinions on the matter. I genuinely can. After all, do we not benedict and intone the names of the archangels in the high rituals? I can understand this, and I understand the value of the faith and the faith that you yourself possess, Rupert. However, unfortunately, fanaticism often sees guilt where there is none, because the fanatic believes so much in the credos, where guilt is said to be shown, even when guilt cannot be proved. Fuck. She will chug back the whiskey now, like what's left in the bottle, and she'll say, "Don't worry." Fuck. Stephanos. Yeah, that should be. Don't
Yes.
worry, Stephanos. You did not cause my injuries.
Oh, that is a relief. I did honestly believe that Mr. Rory was in imminent danger. I do not know the man, but or boy, I do not. You speak as if he is young. But if you had seen the look in that man's eyes when he left, it was like they were marching off to kill someone.
That's fair. You actually found me.
Yes.
I found a, well, for lack of a better word, a technocratic chop shop, and I was in the process of seeing to shutting it down. Unfortunately, some of the, how to phrase it, automatons moved quicker than I anticipated. So when you texted me, I was a couple of streets away.
Are you in need on your war efforts? Or should I, if you would like, seek to protect this? And he kind of like tilts his head and then back. Moron of your order?
At the moment, we can't really do anything. Fuck. I'm just going to sit here, drink until I'm capable of standing. Ironic, that statement, I know. And then we are going to deal with this problem.
Well, there's a lot we can do with just a little bit of information. I just need the information.
What do you need?
I mean, I can, with your permission, make it so he is, this member of your house, this Rory, is harder to find and track.
No, we don't want to actively look. He's safe where he is.
He's safe. Okay.
They're not going to break into the fucking chantry over this. The bishop would have a conniption.
That would be terrifying.
Yes. I have seen Archbishop de Calvoine get angry exactly once. We do not want to see that again.
I don't ever want to see that ever. I've imagined it. It's terrible. It haunts my nightmares.
Yes.
Rory is already in custody, more or less, awaiting trial, so he's actually quite safe.
The High Marshal, he, if I had to guess, this is my first time meeting him, and I've only met. Sorry, go ahead.
He doesn't strike me, and like actively cuts off Stephanos. He doesn't strike me as a man who waits for things. He doesn't strike me as a patient or gentle person. He strikes me as someone who is direct, who is to the point, who is... And he just kind of like takes a deep breath, looks for the simple answers.
And there is a place for such people in the world. The world is full of monsters, and the faith and the humanity does need defending.
High Inquisitor Lucien Legerange is his master. Well, insofar as under the new system, since the Templars reintroduced themselves to the chorus. Fuck. me this hurts. So we will perhaps, when I am capable of standing, more than likely tomorrow, I will speak with the Inquisitor on this matter and see. Okay, and see if I can head this off at the pass. He is not unreasonable, but unfortunately, he has spent the majority of his awakened life, and he's older than I am, hunting down the most terrible of things. So he tends to see demons in every shadow. Needless to say, new plan. Never say the word demon in front of the Templars. Can we agree to this? Unless it's literally, High Marshal, there's a demon behind you.
Well, I was rather hoping he could tell me more about this creature Faust that I'd heard about in the city.
Well, apparently that backfired. You sent him off on a tirade.
Generally,
it does not.
Can I remind you that my house was founded by a crusader? Which I do like have some respect for.
Our house was founded by a crusader, but yes.
Oh, so your house. Tell me about your house. I don't know about your house. I know that you have Hogwarts houses in your order. Sorry, don't mean to offend. Looks over at D'Onofrio. You guys have things separated into various micro-organizations. You like to micromanage?
Did her hair turn on fire just then?
No, she tried to stand up, but it failed.
Ooh.
So you guys like to micromanage, and you guys like to...
Sorry, what do you mean micromanage?
Everybody has... are you familiar with cooking?
Yes. I'm
Mise en place.
familiar with the word micromanage. I just associate it with
mise en place. A place for everything and everything in its place. Everybody has from what I know of your tradition, everybody fits a specific part of the machination. Am I wrong?
Yes.
Cool. Tell me I'm wrong and tell me why I'm wrong. He like throws his arms back up over his head and it's like, all right, I fucked up. Tell me why I fucked up.
It is true that an apprentice is under the control of their parents, you would say. But once the gauntlet is passed, once the oath is sworn, a Magus of the Order has incredible level of freedom. And the Order explicitly forbids the swearing of other oaths of fealty because it is considered demeaning for a Magus to be under the servant of another.
Okay. Cool. So you don't have like
like any tradition, there are those who are older and of wisdom and power who we might listen to and respect. But we're not some kind of army. We don't have a rank system where a lieutenant can command a sergeant. The Order has always been minimalistic. You only have to look at our code. There is nothing in the code about obeying one's elders.
I don't know much about your code. Educate me.
Well, perhaps you could return the favor. How does it work in your tradition? Do you micromanage, as you put it?
We're a meritocracy.
So that's ruled by the most powerful?
No.
Please go on.
The most relevant, the most prevalent, and he will hit his hookah. The most appropriate will share and lead as needed. We all see things differently. We all have a baseline of why, but hits the hookah again. We all have different callings, different drawings, different needs to satisfy. We all see the world just a little bit differently.
Well, I would like to think that's true of all tradition mages, possibly all people.
I'll shrug. I mean, as I know it, you guys, from everything I've heard, very structured, very linear, very this is how you progress. And
If we were that structured, we wouldn't need such a complicated legal system with a millennia of case law behind it.
and he just kind of makes like this wincy, like bit into a sour candy face. Yeah.
And to be fair, Mr. Winray, from what I know about your tradition, you base your entire practice and paradigm on Pornhub and Facebook.
You know? Information shows up in all of the strangest of places, and I'm sorry if you demean things like Pornhub and Facebook. There's a whole lot of information flowing back and forth. There's a whole lot of systems that can do a whole lot of work that we don't have to build, make, or maintain. Utilization of the appropriate engines. Why do I have to build a server capable of processing billions of bytes of information per second if somebody else has already done that and I can just lay a framework on their work? Why do I have to do it if somebody else has done it and they won't notice?
Alright. I'm going to achieve standing again. This is going to be a thing.
Will
Do
she
you
take
want
help?
another round of whiskey?
She will.
Are you?
Hmm?
You need assistance, matter.
A shoulder would be agreeable.
Certainly.
How tall is Mr. Gallup?
Not specified.
He looks short.
How did Louis get his sheet up?
5'4" with the hair.
I know he's secondary in physical, so he's
He's probably about 5'10", 5'11".
yeah,
realistically.
average male height, I guess.
Northria is only about 5'9", so
Yeah.
she'll kind of put her weight on you. What is your strength?
Strength, only strength 2, but stamina 4, so I've got the endurance.
That's fair. She'll put her whole body weight on you, and you will be able to kind of help her up. And she'll say, "Right, I'm going to go back to the chantry and make sure that everything's all right. I'm also going to go and make sure Croshaw knows that what's happened, and I'm going to make it so that I feel less like death. All of the above are good plans."
I wish you the best.
Shall I? Do you need me to come with you?
No, it's fine. I'll be all right. All right. Thank you, Stephanos.
Quite all right.
She'll put a hand on his shoulder and she'll say, "If it helps, I didn't say this earlier, but I happen to think you would make a fine hermetic.
Thank you. He kind of smiles nervously because, yeah, most of what's happened tonight made him nervous.
D'Onofrio will kind of limp to one side of the room before once again she will disappear.
All of that paradox.
And I'm being summoned elsewhere, so I'll talk to you guys in a bit.
Victor.
I think this is a good place for all of us to make our quiet oh shit exits.
Well, I'm good with ending it. Stefanos will call Yuki, probably wait for her to arrive, and head home with her. Because, no, he's worried about getting encountering someone on the way.
Nope. Activating Arcane, throwing up the SCP field, get bowing.
I think, well, I guess we'll leave it there then. And Gary will return to the Chantry.